Oh, do you remember the time? Do you remember the time when people would have wells on your land? You bought a piece of land, it's your property, you had wells. And you used to be able to pull your water out, get a pump and suck your water out and everything. But you know what? The government's not making no money off you. You need to cap your well. There's a guy over there down the street from where we live at, he has a well in his backyard. He had to cap it because, do you remember the time? Because he was giving free water away to the neighbors. You can't do that. How's the state and the government going to make their money off you? You know what I'm saying? Do you remember the time? Some of this stuff didn't happen to me. But how about if I wanted my own freaking land and I wanted my freaking well? See, I know some of this stuff. You remember the time, right? Do you remember the time? Do you remember the time when you were a good parent and you would be able to raise your kid and give him morals and talk to him? But you know what? You're not a good parent. You don't know what's up. You know what I'm saying? Because you're out of date. You're too old. Do you remember the time? You used to talk to your daughter. Mija, keep your legs closed. Mija, be a good girl. No, but you're a bad parent. You know why you're a bad parent? Because you don't understand. Your daughter opened her legs, let some guy meckle inside of her, and she's pregnant. Do you remember the time when you used to be able to say if your kid went to the doctor or not? No, that same daughter could go get a full-fledged abortion. Freaking kill off one of your grandchild. And without even you knowing. Your daughter could do this. Legally. She can't take aspirin in school without you knowing. But she could have an abortion. But even if she doesn't get that far, and she lets that guy meckle in her last night, she goes the morning after pill, 17 and older. Do you remember the time when you were a good parent? You're not no more. See that? See how you're not? And some of you guys, that's happened to you now. Your daughter did that shit now. But if you try to go get cough syrup, and it's a certain kind that these stupid asses make meth out of, they want to see your ID. And if you try to go to different stores and buy them, they're going to see that shit. You're going to get a knock on the door. Hey, freaking asshole, you're making meth. You're locked up. Do you remember the time? Do you remember that shit? Do you? Does Michael Jackson has any of this? Do you remember any of this yet? Remember when you used to be able to freaking think of something really good and you started business and you started hiring people and you're doing good for yourself and now you're freaking a billionaire, but you know your company might fail, so the government could say, you know what, we're taking control of it. Remember that company used to be yours? Do you remember you used to make a lot of money, but you know what, you're making too much money. Now they could tell you how much you're making and stop you, cap your ass, fire you. They fired the president of GM. What give the government the right to fire the freaking president of GM? It's a private entity. But see how the government, when they get their hands in it, then they could do that. But do you remember the time? Do you remember in that shit? Do you? Do you remember the time when, you know what, I don't want to fucking work. I don't want to fucking worry about shit. I just want to bum it. You can't do that no more, because you know what? You got to get health care. And if you don't get health care, we're going to lock your ass up. They're going to lock you up in jail because you don't pay for the government health care that they want to give you. Right? Nowhere in the Constitution says they can do that, but they're going to do it. Do you remember the time? Do you remember that shit? They're going to give amnesty to illegal aliens and give them health care for free, but they're going to lock your ass up because you're not buying it. Do you remember the time you used to be able to go to your regular parks around town, Woodward, whatever one's yours called, or Rhodey Park, Woodward Park, and these parks around town, and you go in and have fun with your kids, right? Hold on, do you remember? Now you have to pay to get in that freaking park. Well, we got to maintain and we have to do that. Yeah, you got people that broke the law and it's called community service. Have their asses do that shit. Have them do that shit. You got people sitting in jail with all the freaking good-ass prisons. You see that freaking video? All the good drugs in prison. Nash, name brand drugs in jail and prison, but you got to pay for yours. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay for yours. Like, come on. Do you remember the time? Come on, man. And the same thing with your national parks. You have to pay $20 to get in those things. Remember the time in California you used to be able to buy big ass TVs? Now they freaking gonna say your TV's too big and you can't buy a TV. You can't buy over 60-inch or 58-inch TV. You can't do that in California now. Let's see. Well, look, you know what? I think I proved my point, I don't need to freaking keep doing this. I can keep going, dude. I've been thinking about it. Do you remember the time? Do you? Does any of this resonate? Do you see how healthcare reform is gonna freaking do even more to these things to you? Do you see that cap and trade was even gonna grab your ass even more? But the people that stood up and protested and did that, they did that for you. I did that for you. I went to those tea parties for you. I made those phone calls for you. And I stopped that for you. I need more of that help, though. You know what I'm saying? Share the videos. Do you remember the time? Love that guy's dead, though. So, love your kids, dude. Try to raise them because the government says you can't. But thank you for watching and later.